brought to you by Knights of Awakening. This is the Labyrinth. Well, it's about damn time we had another Labyrinth episode. It's been a little while since we covered anything really related to mysticism or the like, and what I want to hit on is the hero's journey as it concerns the wizard. Where we fit in on all this, we did a little article recently on the hero's journey, and in it we talked about how some people get to certain points within the journey and they become certain aspects of it while still being on it. We are the hero of our own life. And this is a very important part of this show, is remember, you are the hero of your own life. But if you're mystic working, you're pagan, and you work with magic or mysticism of some form, then wizard is the term I'm going to use for you for this. And the reason is I'm going to draw some comparisons and parallels with the hero's journey, the character of Gandalf, and you in your own life, and what you're going to find that it means for you. So, if you want something that's going to help you a little bit in your life today, give you a little bit of a direction, this, I hope, will be it. I hope it'll help you find where you're at and some of the cycles you're in, and help you utilize them and recognize them. And this is from personal experience as well as seeing the experience of others. So let's dive in. We're using Christopher Vogler's rendition of the hero's journey. I've got that on my other window here. And I have it up on my other window, my other screen, because I keep two screens, one for monitoring my video feed, and one so that I can look up notes. And it starts with the ordinary world. Before you entered into wizardry or mysticism of any kind, this is where you were at. You already were a regular person doing regular things. And this is not irregular, this is not strange or weird, but you simply were not part of the mystical world. Even if you were involved in it, at some point you took the leap from studying magic, doing magic, to being a wizard. Being that mentor figure within what you do and how you interact with the world around you. This is a unique place, and a lot of people are either trying to get there or are there and don't really know how to deal with it. Within that, you have the call to adventure, the call to become something more as a wizard, as one who is helping others through magic, who is helping teach others, who is helping pass on knowledge, or helping alleviate problems directly in a more immediate fashion. And of course, the refusal of the call. None of us who start this path really are ready for what it's going to weigh down on us. Now, I run the Rosequartz Labyrinth. It is a mysticism shop, and I can tell you that I wasn't really ready when I entered into being both a wizard as well as doing that as my profession. I wasn't ready for the amount of just everything that it would be. You become the sage, you become the person that people go to for advice or direction, and a lot of times they're not even going to you for massive amounts of direction. They're going for little bits, little snippets, little redirections in their life. That's a lot of what it comes down to. So, yeah, there's a refusal of the call at first. It's not something you're really ready for when you first start. And then there's the meeting with the mentor. For that, a lot of us meet a mentor. A lot of us reach a point where we have a mentor take us on, or we have one person that inspires us to move forward. But for everyone, there's something in that helps them repattern themselves. And after that, this is where the journey becomes kind of strange for the wizard. Because once you embark on the path of wizardry, to truly be a wizard, to truly understand what that means, you become the mentor. So the rest of the journey, from start to finish, you're now in this role. You're in the role of the mentor. You are the mentor. And the rest of it starts to relate like this. First, we've got to backtrack. Because you are going to be dealing with the people who are in the ordinary world. Even if they're into magic, they haven't crossed that threshold to be able to really get the results they're looking for. And they're called to adventure. And you've got to guide them subtly, without putting too much of your own influence on them, without making them into a carbon copy of yourself. And it's so easy. It's so easy in the effort to inspire others to make them into us. Especially if we're very strong personalities. Especially if we are, in your face kind of wizards. It is so so damn easy to make copies, so you've got to be subtle, and you've got to be directive, and yet you've also got to show that you know what you're doing and prove your own power, because otherwise they're not going to believe in you. You know, Lord of the Rings is a really good inspiration for this. Gandalf is a really good inspiration for this, and remember, Gandalf is based off the Tales of Odin in description and mannerisms and methods. You've got to display a little power, just a little, from time to time, for people to take you seriously. You've got to let them know you know what you're talking about. That's really hard, because once you do that, then they're either in shock and awe, or they lose some of themselves to you, or they disdain you for being arrogant. It's not an easy task, and you've got to measure it. So I say just a very little amount, if you can. Show them you know what you're talking about. Show them a little bit of the power. From that point, you have to help them through their refusal to the call. Whatever it means for them on their hero's journey, whether it's in mysticism, or as a wizard, you may be helping them through mundane stuff. You're the wizard. That's your bag. You've got to help them. You're the mentor. Okay? You're the vizard, the advisor. You must help them grow. And in this, they may have met you already, or they may be coming to truly meet you, to truly know who you are, even though you've been helping them along the way. Crossing the threshold into the special world for the wizard starts a little earlier in some ways, but for us, eventually we reach a point after becoming the mentor where we recognize the sudden falling apart of everything. We reach a point where all of the dogma, all of the symbolism is paradigm. And we look at it and we say, I have my paradigm and you have your paradigm. And I would not want to insult your paradigm by telling you that my truth is the only truth. And it makes conversation very difficult, because we are very rooted in our methods. My paradigm is absolute. It is absolute. For me. Might not be for you. May not be your paradigm. There's a truth, an undercurrent. The flow of the universe, forces of energy at work, are deeper than anything I can fully explain, and I've touched them, tapped into them. I cannot fully explain it, so I have to use my paradigm to explain it. That's crossing the special world. Tests and allies. We must help those who are running into various difficulties, who are having issues through their tests to overcome their enemies, and we will have our own tests and enemies. For every one person who pats you on the back and helps lift you up, there are 1,000 detractors, and they will come out of the woodwork very quickly. Likewise, you will be betrayed as a wizard, more often, in more ways than you can ever hope to imagine or count. You will find that betrayal is at every corner, because that's part of the path. Because you have your paradigm, and someone else has their paradigm, and a lot of people can't hold on to their paradigm without destroying another's, or simply they need power that you have, or that they can take from you in some way. That's a part of it. It's sad, but it's part of what you have to be ready for. You're going to be a wizard. You're going to be the mentor. You're going to walk down this path. Be ready for it. The approach to the innermost cave. This is approaching the internal, the understanding of our own fears and our own pains. And it's right on the edge of the ordeal. There's always a conflict that's going to happen. But first we have to confront ourselves. The worst enemy you will ever face is yourself. And as a wizard, you better be ready for that. You will give yourself more problems. And I don't mean like you're self-sabotaging. Everybody does that to some degree. No, I mean there's an aspect of you that you went into Magick to confront. Maybe it's your anger. Maybe it's your fear. Maybe it's your compassion. You're overly compassionate. You have too much of it and you can't stop yourself. Maybe it's a lack of self-respect and you're using Magick as a bowstring. Who knows? For everyone it is different. For everyone we have a different reason that we come to it. You must confront yourself. You also have to help others confront themselves. And in doing this you become stronger on this journey. Then the ordeal. This is something, and these things are not always in order, but you always deal with bits and pieces of them. You will face foes and enemies and problems, and there will be great tasks of turmoil for which you are the only solution. You are the solution. You are the complete solution in some instances, or you're helping someone else. You have the bit of knowledge they need. And I don't necessarily mean a spell. Because you are disconnected from the situation in those areas as a wizard, you have the wisdom, the knowledge to sit there and contemplate with that strong, powerful mind that you've built and say, there must be a solution to your problem. You're trying to get a car, you don't have the ability to. Maybe I can find someone who can help get you a loan. Maybe I can find someone that I don't have the knowledge that they do. Let me go to my big book of contacts and information and see what I can do from there. Let me search. Let me read the runes or the cards and gather my resources, my understanding for you, so that you can find your way. And that's a big part of what we do. A big part of what we do for ourselves is also, a lot of times, we are the solution. We have magic, we have knowledge, we have the ability to implement it. We are the solution sometimes. The reward. Sadly, this one doesn't come as often as you'd like. Everyone will love you afterwards. And your detractors will be even greater. The reward is great, and this is what a lot of people strive for, and they get stuck in this, the aiming towards a reward. But for the wizard, the reward is good, and it is helpful, and it makes us stronger and better. We're patted on the back, we're given what we need to continue onward to the road back to the beginning. Because we must go back, and it is a long road that we walk. We have to come around full circle to learn more. And in that, there is a resurrection, a return with a special something that completes us, completes our life and our journeys. You will have that as well. You may find that in your meditation more often than anything, as you look inward into the self, to understand the self better. You may find that your road back is a road back to square one in centeredness after the great ordeals and conflicts. You must find your way back to center. If you do not, those ordeals will echo through the rest of your life. So as a wizard, you must find this. You must help others. You are the mentor. You are the guide. The mentor doesn't necessarily disappear in the hero's journey in this. They're going to come back to you, and you need to be ready to help them find their way back to being who they are, to knowing who they are. It may be a simple word, or it may be a very complex understanding. This is the importance of wisdom. Power is great. The ability to curse someone and kill them, or bless someone and rise them to the upper levels of just amazingness. They're fantastic powers. But they pale ultimately in comparison to knowing the right thing to say at the right time. But they're better than saying the wrong thing at the wrong time, that's for sure. You return with the elixir and you help others return with it. The elixir is the understanding of the universe. The philosopher's stone, if you will. The knowledge of the internal alchemy that you went through. And then you start all over again. For the wizard, for the mentor, this means going back into the ordinary world, rejoicing and reconnecting in ordinary ways, and enjoying this. And then looking over and seeing that someone needs your help. And this is where the wizard becomes the hero. Much like Gandalf in the last series of the Lord of the Rings books, rather I should say the Lord of the Rings books in this series. With the movies, they put it all as this giant series clusterfuck that it shouldn't be. The truth is, you had The Hobbit and then you had The Lord of the Rings. So in the Lord of the Rings books, Gandalf is a good example of this. He goes into the world, here's a call to adventure, and initially, I'm sure he doesn't really bother. We don't see that part, but he knows he has to. And he meets up with those who need him to be the mentor. But he's also a hero. He is also crossing thresholds, dealing with tests of will and strength, making allies and enemies, and approaching that inner cave of doubt. you're going to go through this more times than you realize. And as a wizard, you need to know your place in it, which is to help further others while also being, at times, the ultimate single solution. When you realize that, you're a step closer to being able to deal with this. And that's what I have to say. That wraps us up. This is the wizard's path on the hero's journey. Hero's journey is an excellent model for self-understanding, and now we've applied it to the wizard, the mystic, who has achieved enough that they can help others, that they can go forth on that quest to save others. And that, in a lot of ways, is what it means to awaken the knight within.